All right. I'm starting the VOD review here because I started the VOD and this is the first point you guys even really get contested at. You guys kind of hard roll to get here, so. So one thing to be concerned about. Wait, never mind. This guy swapped from Hog, didn't he? Never mind. One thing to watch out for is overswinging when you have bubble. So right here you have bubble, and you. I didn't go far enough back. One sec. Sorry. You get a bubble, and like your bubble is now ended, right? So, and now he's got a bubble. So what you have to watch out for is that this guy is this guy swinging back on you? Well, he gets like, there's no nade at least, but if there was a nade, this would be really bad. And either way, he's got bubble. You don't actually really want to swing on him. You take like one extra swing, then you back up. But like, what did you actually achieve from that swing? You made him back up a little bit, and you also gave the Zarya a charge, and that was about it, right? You didn't get any extra ult off it, and you kind of exposed yourself a bit, and you took a lot of unnecessary damage because there's just no value in swinging anymore, right? So you just gotta know when you're supposed to stop swinging it and during bubble exchanges, which will happen all the time in Rein's. That's a pretty risky fire strike. If this Ashe headshot you or the Hanzo headshot you, you actually just would have died. You almost die either way. But this now is really bad, but you can't really do much about it. Alright, you just gotta hold shield here. I'm not sure why you dropped. You're on like 50 health. You're trying to throw fire strike. Like, I mean, you guys are all probably dead there anyways, so it didn't make a difference. But you know, just gotta hold shield there. Yes, not up and down. Yes. Yeah, you're just like a little too overeager to swing through. It's like, your instincts are generally fine. It's just that like once you start swinging, you usually swing like one too many times, and those one too many times can often just kill your higher ranks. So when you're retaking this point, you really want to prioritize this high ground, because what's going to end up happening is if this Ashe is like really good, she can like really abuse like this spot. And it's really hard for your team to like follow in behind you. It's very easy for your team to get picked. And then on top of that, when you start coming up, you're going up to a massive concave. So the Rein will be here, the Zarya will be up here. At any time, the Ashe can flank, either up through here, or down through here. And neither situation is good for your team. And it's just rough because you're attacking like through a high ground or through a low ground. So generally speaking, what you should do is just like by default start walking up here. Oh my god, my camera control. Start walking up here, push through here, and then you can drop, right? But the most important thing is making sure your team at least shoves them out of here, so that way you have it's not like you're being shot at from every direction to come up the tunnel. Now it's only like one direction ish, like 90 degrees or so, and your team can shoot back from not just behind you. Because whenever the Rein, everyone's stacked behind the Rein, that's when the Rein is most miserable because he has no pressure. Everything's being shot at him. And if they miss, it might kill a teammate, so you can't drop your shield. But if you don't drop your shield, your shield's going to break, and you're not going to make any progress. Forgot to go back. Yeah, so they're not great at playing the high ground. But either way, you get forced back. Zarya's using high ground. Not very well, but she is. Alright. Yeah, so this is why you have to do this immediately. Like, you can't stop, right? Because then otherwise you get teammates who get, did this guy not get shattered? What? He missed everybody. Anyways, so either way, if you go main first and then go right, you end up with teammates who get left behind, right? And then like this is how people get picked. Try not to let space exist for your teammates to screw up, right? So they should play with the assumption that you're going to go top to begin with, so you just start by going top, right? I do like that you're doing it eventually, but it looks like you're being led by the Zarya, not the other way around. You're also you didn't think of it like you want to do this like immediately. You can't dawdle on this. Unfortunately. Oh, you're a mad lad. All right. So you got your fire strike deflected. That happens. You need a double fire strike, and you're 200 health. You're 240 health, no armor, right? You're also on fire. You probably shouldn't shove up on the close side of the corner to them. Like, if you want to probably push from the far side, or you can use the card as cover, right? But you're actually pushing into them with no health. So, be careful about this. Because even if you don't die here, you really should. Yeah, okay, you 100% die for that.
This is not
Just have a little bit of patience. Just chill there for a second. Just fine.
Quadruple kill. Team kill.
This is not your time. Damage boost engaged. Fighting.
Oh, you almost got him. So this is something you want to avoid, where like, it's not always possible, but generally speaking, you don't want to fight in this space, because this is where the defense wants to fight, with just like these three very separated chokes to push through. So generally speaking, if you have the option, you don't want to hold cart, you want to hold in front of cart, like maybe one of these pillars, maybe up here, maybe their spawn, wherever you want really, wherever you think you feel like you can fight, but you don't want to fight on the cart, because if the cart gets stuck here, this is like where the defense wants to fight. So don't fight where the defense wants to fight. When possible. It's not always possible, but in there it probably was if you pushed up earlier before they got the recontest. Now this fight's lost, but not much you can do about that one from that point on.
Courtesy. Let's get the
If you see the Zarya off-angling really hard like this is usually a telltale sign of grab. Obviously I have the advantage of like the replay viewer telling me it. But like, Zaryas don't walk like this far, like looking like they're trying to flank and sneak around, unless they have grab, right? So like, if she's trying to off-angle you, like if she was standing right here and shooting you, it's different. But if she's like looking like she's trying to hide, she probably has grab. And it won't really change much about what you do, but it will inform your decision making slightly, because you do know they have grab. 100%.
I am ready.
Alright, okay, let's talk about how this plays out. Oops, not far enough back. So, no, this is when you get your bubble, right? So, again, how much you can swing is tied to your bubble, right? So your timing, the bubble is probably too early, but you don't have a choice about that, right? And then second is you're also missing quite a bit of health. So that's another effective limit, right? You also have no idea what the honest cooldowns are, and since this is probably first clash and you haven't seen her use the nade, she probably has it, right? So earlier we saw the Anna throw the nade, right? So you just kind of swing until like your bubble's wearing off, mostly because of your health, right? But in this case, you know she might have nade, and on top of that, you're missing health, and the bubble is early, so you get like maybe one swing on this. You cannot swing again because okay, you didn't get punched for the second swing, so I guess it was fine. It just like, it feels like that's a good opportunity to get like ulted, and if you get ulted, then you can probably just die. But going back for more was definitely not the play, because now you have no bubble, and you're several seconds off the next bubble, and they've already like popped Valk, right? So like you have ult, so trading doesn't necessarily benefit you here if it doesn't result in a kill, and they have Valk, so they have more tempo than you, right? So you get anti-naded here and you almost die. You definitely overstep a little bit. Against Bob, you just need to stall the fight out, right? So you're up 2. They're going to get a res probably because they have and the Bob's in your backline. So realistically, this is roughly an even fight because you guys haven't used any ults yet, and this is their third ult, right? So at this point, you need to just stabilize the fight. And if that means like maybe giving up some of your advantage, like because some of them are spawning, that's okay. Because this way, because the most important thing on last points is making sure everybody stays alive. You can win with everybody, but it's really hard. So the easiest way to do this is just kill the Bob, right? You don't necessarily have to participate in killing the Bob, but you do need to like wait, right? You have 2 snipers, I think. Where's your Hanzo? Am I stupid? Oh, he's right here. If both the Hanzos focus both the snipers focus the Bob, it dies in like 3 seconds flat, right? So you just need to wait. No one will and just like chill, right? You can even rest your shield. Just sit here, wait for the Bob to die, maybe throw a fire strike at it. And then when the Bob dies, then you push back in, right? Their Valk will be ending. Your Valk will still have a couple seconds left. Your shield will be fully healed, right? You just gotta have some patience here. Shatter was it was pretty cool that you did like a 180 shatter and stuff. But the relative reward is kind of low. Like maybe you killed the Zarya, but in either case, now like your Hanzo's died to the Bob, they got the res, you're down on mana advantage. And if you win a fight here, it's going to be off of enemy of snakes, not because your team is like in a really strong like position overall, which is still possible. I'm just saying like you don't want to rely on this kind of thing. Oh my god, you're a player. Oh, that bubble's clutch. Oh, stand up. Time to run. Okay. Alright, so obviously this is really risky. I don't really mind it, just other than the fact that like you just killed the Zarya. So now your team has like massive advantage, right? So yes, oh yeah, I think your Hunter just got res too. Yeah, so your Hunter just, did he just get res? Yeah, he's here. So you have everybody up right now. The most important thing is just walking in. You guys have like something like 3 picks. One of them just responded, I think. So if you just walk through main right now, or really anywhere, with your team, you'll win. You just kind of walk in at them, right? But by taking crazy flanks, like I don't really mind it because like, you know, flanks are good. But like this is just kind of unnecessarily risky without necessarily a lot of payoff, right? Because if you just walk through main with your team, you would probably accomplish something very similar. I'll be real, right? Like you just walk at the Reinhardt, and you'll probably get like similar, if not better, results without any of the risk of this. Because if he counterpins you, right? If he counterpinned you right here, and you already didn't get around the corner in time to bubble, you actually could have just died to an Ash headshot, right? So like it's just kind of like a high risk, medium reward play. When you can just do like a low risk, medium reward play just by walking down main, right? So like what I'm saying basically is there's no need to make this play, even though like it is like cool and fun. Yeah. So like if you notice like the reason why you die here is actually because you win on that flank, right? Because you win on this flank at 350 health. You get down to like 200 from that play, and you can't even get healed up by the time this nano comes and kills you. Like, your health is just recovered. Actually, I lied. Okay, so you get purple. All right. Well, purple does that. Is that dragon? Oh, never mind. But, yeah. Instead of like, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, you just didn't have to take that kind of risk. You can just walk in. Sometimes it's okay to take those risks, but right there you didn't have to. You just like walk main, got your heals. We've been fine. This is probably too aggressive, but I don't really mind it. You just gotta find some kind of extra shield where you're controllable. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay, so the problem here is once you get here, you have to chill, right? So your team has multiple people still in spawn. At least one, this guy's getting res, so that doesn't count. But either way, your team's not really in position to back you up because you got really far ahead of them. So you just gotta chill and play the corner until your team catches up with you, right? So the Genji's gonna dash past you, and then he's gonna like walk back in or whatever. That's fine. He's gonna get some free smoke, right? But as soon as you recover from this, you can't walk forward still. Like again, you're still really far down. You can know roughly based on the fact that you died first and then charged out of spawn. So as a result, like you know that you're ahead of at least one person, right? So you just gotta chill here and not burn your shield, right? And now like the nade gets deflected, the fire strike gets deflected, and the Genji has put you down into like death territory already. So even if you live this is just kind of rough. Alright. So I'm fine with you trading. Because your team is down, and it's okay to take some risks while you're down like this. Especially since we just rezzed. But you have no shield, so you have no fallback plan. And you're entirely relying on your Ashe, like, or your Ana dumping literally everything into you, right? So you're getting killed. So if you want to trade, make sure you're playing this side, right? So you trade, but you never like step over here because this exposes you to their whole team, right? If they were all here, right? They're not, but like it's still either way you can get shot by the Ashe and the Ana now, right? As opposed to here, where you can only kind of get shot by the Ashe, right? When you swing forward hammer, it's a lot harder and you're much less likely to get headshot, right? And the Genji has to like has a much harder time shooting the back because every time you put your shield, you block everything as opposed to like just what's in front of you, right? So be careful at like running out to swing when you can just do it from the corner, right? So that's mistake number one. The second thing is you step into it, like you walk deeper. So now you're going around the corner, so anyone in any area can shoot you now. And it makes it a little bit harder potentially for your healers to catch up with you, like if you go a little too deep. And if you look, like everybody else is like relatively set up in a concave around you, but nobody is in a concave to help you, right? And the Zarya is in fact zoning your backline out, so it's like you kind of just have to play this slower until your team can settle a bit. And potentially, if you chase the Zarya out, like that's actually a really big play because like you chase her out, make her rejoin her team, then come back, and then go for this play when your team's ready, right? But this is just too aggressive. You get bailed out in the sense of like they wake you up and then miss the pin, so you don't die immediately, but you are purple, and your first Rein shake probably shouldn't be to charge. I'll be real with you. You get left here, but like I know if this is a relatively high percentage pin in terms of like hitting somebody. It's high percentage ish, but you're purple and you're 300 health, and you should probably die for this pin, even if you connect, right? And again, the most important thing about capping third is making sure everybody's alive. That includes yourself, right? It's not always possible, but it's very hard to cap third without everybody alive. So you should always try to do that, right? Yeah, you 100% die for that.
This is not
So there was no need to shatter there, mostly because it was just kind of low, again, like kind of low percentage play. So like you charge from here to here, right? If you look, there's not a lot of open areas where people can really group up on you, right? Like sure they can kind of chase behind, but like what's likelihood that Ana here is going to like run this way to help a Rein instead of just like run this way, right? So it's very unlikely that people are going to like pile in after you, especially since like you kind of left your team behind to do this, right? So if you look at how you pinned and where you pinned from, just watch it from third person for a second. So you know there's a play happening behind you. You're hearing the ults, right? And so they kind of just like walk past you because like they've sort of given the Rein up for dead since they don't bubble, and they're just going into your team, right? So like instead of like going for the shatter immediately, just kill the Rein first. Just swing on him and then walk out and see if you can find a shatter, right? This is like a little bit. I don't want to say trying too hard to make a flashy play, but it's kind of trying too hard to make a flashy play. You can just like kill the Rein. Yeah, you don't have to make it complicated. Like, I don't mind the pin. It was probably too aggressive. And like if you were tracking ults, you would know that they probably have Nanoblade.
60 seconds remaining.
And like a lot of other stuff. But I don't really mind it. Against Nanoblade, you kind of have to take risks to win anyway. So. It's just like, you know, if you're gonna do the risky play, you gotta at least make sure you're doing it. Again, you really want to prioritize going this way initially, just to at least force these people out. They're gonna move anyways, but just in case, right? Because Ana's actually sticking up there. Never mind. Oh my gosh, she missed the drop. She's so stupid.
30 seconds.
Grab. Alright, that's unfortunate. Grab is good.
10 seconds remaining.
Shatter. Yeah. Not much you can do there. Let's go next.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. The payload.
What happened here? I think that's one thing that's happening a little too consistently is this Genji's getting all of your fire strikes. Like he's getting at least like half of them. maybe not maybe not half. That might be too high, but he's getting a lot of value fire strikes off of you. That's something like Genji's pretty much always want to do. I'm sure you've done it too since you play Genji. But I'm not entirely sure like if like it's just like an awareness problem, you're just not looking for it, or like this Genji just happened like this is unusual and this Genji just has happened to be catching all of them. But it's something you want to probably look out for because it's happening a lot. Oops. Again, you don't want to step in front of corners to trade. You want to trade from behind the corner because like this, you can get shot the entire time you're moving back and forth, right? But here, you can literally just have your hammer, your body exposed for only like a fraction of a second while your hammer has an active hitbox. You just hit everybody in front of you and back out. Hit everybody in front of you and then back off. And you can just do this on rinse and repeat. It's much harder to push than just like walking into him on the corner. You don't have, like your hammer's range. You can abuse that, right? Yeah, so if you take a lot of unnecessary damage, your fire strike kills your Ana. You might have died anyways, but hard to say. You should die here. You might be able to live, but you have no sustain. You just gotta keep running. Like, don't stall for anything. Be really careful with these fire strikes. There's a good chance you can just die. You need to give your shield a chance to rest. So even though the Zarya is like, unless the Zarya is like suddenly start taking a lot of damage, just drop your shield for a second when you hit this corner and wait. Like you just gotta rest your shield. Yeah, this is good. Just would like to happen. Okay, so again, like you talked about the corners. If you look here, your Ana can no longer see you, right? She might be able to see you, but she can see like the very edge of you, right? In either case, you don't really want to rely on this. You want to just be like here, right? So, like if you really want to walk around the corner, walk around it where your Ana can see you, and then take it wide, right? Yeah. Because otherwise, you're gonna double. You never want to take two corners ahead of your team, right? So this is like that analogy was terrible. But yeah, so like this is kind of rough. You're kind of relying on your Ana to get closer to help you out. If you play too tight to this corner, right? This wall, you just gotta play a little bit wider. Yeah, and this is part. Let's see, how much shield did you go into this with? So at this point, you feel really pressured because you have no shield and you're also running out of health. And this is almost entirely due to the fact, not almost entirely, but like a large part due to the fact that when you sat here, you didn't immediately rest your shield. So now you're hitting a point where like you took like 200 to 300 extra damage on your shield that you didn't have to, and you missed 2 to 3 seconds of charging your shield, right? And so now like by the time you actually rejoin the fight, you're at 800 shield, and that's just not enough, right? Or like not necessarily not enough, but it's a lot less than it could be, and that shield would give you a lot more sustain, right? Now you're floating like below half on both bars, and it's just really rough. Also, you're pushing too far to this side as opposed to this side, right? You don't have to fight the Rein unless you think he has Shatter. Like you don't have to stay in front of him. You can just like play whatever will keep you safe, right? Like this LOS has a lot more stuff, right? And you can kind of jiggle peek based on like what's actually shooting you at any given second, and you'll be healed by your Ana the whole time. Plus, you're much more likely to actually like block off the sniper, but that's a different story. But yeah, just kind of running out of resources, right? You're out of shield, you're out of HP. Your Ana's trying really hard to heal you, but it's just kind of difficult. Alright, they're Rein suicided. Take those. That Zarya bubble just saved everybody's lives.
Greetings.
Hello.
Move up at my position.
Yeah, I never mind if someone's a little crazy on Rein, just because like, it's actually people like very rarely actually like expect that. But try to do the crazy, like especially in scrims when you're trying to do crazy. Try to make sure your team's on board with it, so that way they can like follow up on what you're doing. So communicate when you're going for something a little wild, right? Like so on that pin on the side, make sure like you talk about it so they understand it's coming. And then second is like make sure the fundamentals are good because it's way easier to play crazy if you just have more HP and shields at all times, just because your fundamentals are good, right? So you need to have good fundamentals, and that lets you play actually crazier. If you do the normal stuff really well, to do lessons. I know you got bubble, but Annihilate's good. It's a good ultimate ability. Good combo, that thing.
The payload has
Alright, I'll watch one more fight. Let's see how we use the shatter. Their team just like crushed them. Alright. Alright. You're telegraphing really hard that you have shatter here. You're trying to play like little mind games like that, but you're also just very clearly communicating that I want to shatter here, and so this Rein just never really gonna drop a shield at like really stupidly. He's gonna drop it at once here and there, but like at that point you're just gambling if you go for that shatter, right? So you get here. I don't know how to explain this honestly, because shatter is generally more of a feeling than like anything obvious, unless like it's unless like a shield breaks or something. But it really looked like you were telegraphing. Let me just show you what his POV. Let's see what he saw with you. So you see him coming. You see him coming. Makes it backs up. You see how you're just kind of hopping in place, putting up your shield. There's no reason to do that as Rein ever, unless like you're looking for something, right? You're just trying to stall it out and trying to bait him into doing something stupid, right? And the thing about that is like a good Rein will look at that and just be like, I'm not going to put down my shield unless I have bubble. I mean, this guy throws a fire strike anyways, but then like because like you're just jumping around, like he realizes in time that like you're going to shatter, and he just puts up his shield again. That's not to say that the shadow might not have worked anyways, because shatter can sometimes just randomly works because people are stupid and just drop their shield at bad times. He really should have dropped his shield like at all, but like you're also like hard telegraphing. So this ends up being a really expensive fight. You guys commit nano, grab dragon, and shatter. I know you want to use shatter for grab all the time, but especially if there's a direct combo, right? So especially if it's like grab dragon or grab pulse bomb or anything that's supposed to just kill the people in the grab, you're not expected to actually build ult off the grab just because like you can't. They all die too fast. So as a result, like you really don't want to try and fish for shatter value before the grab, because the grab is supposed to like win the fight for you, right? And that way you have shatter going to next fight, and you use the shatter to build your grab, right? And that's like kind of the better rotation once you have combos available. Like if you get your shatter first, feel free to use it. But if your Zarya has grab and you have shatter, it's better. It's usually better to go with the more reliable setup, right? So go with the more reliable like setup first, right? So if you have Nano Blade and you have grab, you go with the Nano Blade first, because Nano Blade is really good, right? And then if Nano Blade doesn't work out, then you grab, right? It's that kind of thing. You can still use grab first in those situations, but generally speaking, if you have a combo, you want to use the combo first and just get that rotating, right? Now, if you have grab dragon and you have nano blade, that's when it gets complicated, and then like you start looking more at like what are their ults, what's the ult economy, like how will this work out in the span of like 3 to 4 minutes, right? But realistically, like if you have a combo for grab, trying to build like your shatter off the grab is just kind of like not gonna happen. It takes too long. Hang on a sec. All right, sorry about that. Alright, now we're beating as well. Alright, you need to get out of this one. Yeah. you just gotta turn around faster. I don't know if you didn't have to but you know who you killed, right? You killed the Rein. You killed some people with grab here. Some of them are coming out of spawn. Some people were way off to the side. You don't know where they are. And it turns out there's a Zarya actually directly behind you. And you just gotta get out of spawn now. Like, you're just too deep because there are people behind you. Like, it's okay to be in spawn. Like, it's okay to touch a spawn door when your whole team is up with you. They're all strong, and they're like, the enemy team is entirely not here, right? They're all dead or in the spawn, right? But like, if like there's people behind you, you gotta leave, and you know there's people behind you because the Ana was shooting you. You just gotta pin as well. Like you're just too deep. Like once you're surrounded, there's just no getting out. Oh my god. All right. Anyways, that's kind of a one-off thing, though. I'm sure you realized that it was too deep because you were in their spawn, your team's still on the bridge. Just something to keep in mind is like you don't want to walk deliberately into concaves, right? So if you know there's people behind you, be really hesitant to like walk even more forward, right? Because if you backed up and you were here when they started shooting at you, it's a whole different game, right? As opposed to like getting here as you die, right? It's a whole different game because then if you look at how far you were compared to where you died, you got to here, right? So imagine if you were here and you got to here, you just wouldn't die, right? Just straight up. And this is like difference like just a small amount of positioning where if you got to this point and you turn around, you actually wouldn't have died. Instead of like walking deeper into the spawn door. Like once you Ash Coach Gun, you're not getting it, right? So just back up. So overall, most important things, your overall fundamentals are not bad. The most important thing is playing corners better. You can play the, I'll show you an example. You can play the corner and get swings without actually exposing yourself to any of the anything from the other side, right? So that's why I make sound. So like you can kind of like that's not the best example. Is there like any good corner with this? Everything's so far away from me. But either way, like you can kind of do this. And if you time this really well, this is kind of free love. You just kind of hit people, and they can't really hit you back. As opposed to like running into the corner and swinging. Like, yeah, running the corner is better if they're running away, right? So if they're backing up, you can chase them and do damage, and then you can maybe back away. But early on, like if you're just trading, which is like what happened most of the time, is that you clearly just wanted to trade, right? Just do it like this. It's so much easier. It's so much more efficient. You're going to die way less. You're going to catch less random sleeps as well. If you're feeling spicy, you can even double hit. You can even like for burst damage. So like what you can do is like you can catch them with like the tail end of the swing. Like I'm really bad at this. I don't play much Rein. So you can catch them with like the tail end of the swing. So like frick, I'm so bad. If you do it really well, you can do like you can catch them with the back end of this swing right here. You can catch it with the back end on this corner, and then the front end of the next swing, and like barely expose yourself and get two hammer swings in, right? And you can do this on virtually any corner, and it's just really good. Another thing is like you can do this like you can like instead of being in this corner, you can kind of just walk into range and do the same thing. Right? I'm really bad at it honestly, but yeah, you can kind of just do that. I recommend watching Super if you, although these days he's kind of a hog streamer, but back when he was playing a significant amount of Rein, you can find some of his VODs. He does this a lot. He's really good about double swinging, or double hitting. And he's also just really good at like corners and all that jazz. His Rein fundamentals are just really good. Second thing is be really careful about over-aggressing, especially into things that are actually threatening. Like if they have like a Moira Mercy, you don't give like you really don't care at all about what the sports can do to you, right? But if they're running Ana, you have to watch out for both of her abilities. They're both very dangerous for you, and getting caught by one of them without a bubble to bail you out, it just is sometimes just death, right? So just be really careful about that. Yeah, I'd really recommend like getting the habit of just like it's actually really hard to deal with. What else? Those are the big ones. I think those are the ones that are like probably the most persistent issues that have the most overall effective play. So just give those a try. Tell me how it feels. And I'll end the mod review here.